Hello and welcome to Rolling with the Punches, your weekly MMA roundup with me, Bez.
And me, Quinn.
And today is the 27th of February, and we are previewing UFC Vegas 20, Rozenstruik versus Gane. Bit of a shorter one this week, and a bit of a note up top. We decided to abandon the 5 rounds kind of format we had before.
Yeah.
We found it's a little bit restrictive on weeks when there's loads to talk about, like there has been for a couple of the pay-per-view cards we've covered. But for weeks like this week where there's not so much going on, we don't want to waste your time dreaming up 5 things to talk about. So today we're essentially going to run down the main card of UFC Vegas 20, touch on a couple of other little bits that we covered throughout the week. And then, as usual, we'll be back tomorrow with our review of the card. So that being said, let's get into it. So the main card is topped this week by, as I mentioned, Rozenstruik versus Gane. Exciting match. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. 2 very highly ranked heavyweights.
There's been a lot of heavyweight bouts recently, and it's been fantastic to see.
It's nice to see some order at the top of that division after so long with it being held up by the trilogy between Stipe and Daniel Cormier. It's one title fight a year, I think, for the last 3-4 years. So it's nice to get a bit of order. Obviously, Stipe and Francis is coming up at the end of March. Another one we're looking forward to. We'll probably do a nice long preview for that one.
Oh yeah.
But obviously with Derek Lewis winning last weekend, John Jones coming up, it looks like John Jones is definitely going to be next to challenge for the title after the winner of Stipe and Ngannou is decided.
So potentially Lewis fighting the winner of this bout.
I think this person is going to be fighting Lewis, as you say, for the right to be the next contender after that. And I'd like that. I don't want to see Derek Lewis sitting around for another 18 months waiting for the heavyweights to sort themselves out.
I mean, he finished that pretty quickly, pretty perfectly.
There's another Lewis performance. He looked like he was getting the better of until he wasn't. It's just that the right hand is such a leveler. But yeah, if you want to go and see us talk more about Lewis, we did do a whole review and preview of that card last week, so check that out. That'll be down below. But this one, who are you picking first off? I'm finding this a hard one to call, to be honest.
The man's on a winning streak. Gane is on a complete winning streak. He is leveling everyone he's going up against. I'm going to put my money on him just because I don't want to see that streak loss. I like seeing that potential come through. I like seeing someone, living up to a reputation like that.
No, it is. It's nice watching a young contender make a run. And when I say young, he is 30, but for the heavyweight, that's pretty much a baby.
Oh yeah.
Most of the heavyweights kind of seem to be hitting their prime between 36 and 40. This has always been one of those divisions where kind of the older people can get away with it for a bit.
But has he got the chin for
so far it's not really been tested. That's the thing with Gane and with any young unbeaten contender is they look great until they don't. But so far, as I say, he's not really looked any trouble against anyone. He's not always been the most exciting fighter. And I know the last performance, I think it was against Bosa, he fought his last fight. JDS would have been his last fight.
Yeah, JDS.
Finished JDS. Before that, he's had a couple of fights where he's easily outmatching his opponent and could put him away. And for whatever reason, he just hasn't decided to put his foot on the gas. It's good that he's cautious. It's the way you get to a belt is by being you don't want to go around making silly mistakes and getting yourself knocked out at heavyweight. But yeah, it's just I think he plays it a little bit too safe sometimes. And against someone like Rozenstruik with the sort of the striking ability and experience that he's got, that could be dangerous. So I'd like to see him see if he can get finishes against the top end of the division. And if anyone's going to test it out, it will be Rozenstruik. The man can crack. I know we saw him get brutalised by Ngannou, but before that, I think that was the first loss of his career. Before that, he'd been tearing apart everyone. And it's just weird punches, even little jabs and sort of short hooks that you wouldn't think could do anything, a flatlining former champions. For me, it's going to be a really interesting fight. My one hope for it is that Jairzinho can also be a bit cautious sometimes.
Yeah.
He stands on the back foot and waits for the right opportunity to come along. Almost cost him against Overeem. The only time Rozenstruik's been 5 rounds in the UFC so far was against Overeem, and to be honest, he was losing most of that fight. If he hadn't split his face open in the last 20 seconds, probably would have lost that. So I think both of them could do it, getting a bit more active. But I think tonight's probably the night we're going to see it. Maybe the first time for Gane going 5 rounds. Be nice to see if his cardio can hold up to that apart from anything else. It's be an interesting one for me.
It's probably what I'm looking forward to the most tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, I'm probably picking Rozenstruik. I think he's just got so much experience in the striking department, and he's not really looked like he's getting taken down too much either. I mean, sometimes that is the worry with kickboxers, is the second they get put on their back, they're in trouble. But he seems to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
I mean, Overeem he's a decorated martial artist in many disciplines, but he is also a just very strong wrestler. He's got a good ground game. And he wasn't able to do too much to Rozenstruik on the mat either. So we shall see. I'm looking forward to that one. Rest of the card going down does take a little bit of a dive, but there are some fun fights on there. Magomed Ankalaev is back after his kind of 2 year or 1 year and a half saga with Ion Cutelaba, which he did come out on top victorious twice, and that second one was definitive.
Oh, absolutely.
He is fighting Nikita Krylov, who's another one. He looked like he was on a really steep rise. Had a couple of knocks along the way, but he's a dominant grappler.
Yeah.
So I think again that's another one I'm really interested for this. Ankalaev's striking looked brilliant against Cutelaba in both fights, but his ground game is now going to be tested. He's a Sambo champion, I believe.
Yeah.
We shall see how well that stacks up against Nikita Krylov.
No, it's going to be interesting, absolutely. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Krylov did to a big, powerful striker in Johnny Walker. He held him down and smashed his face on the floor for a good 15 minutes. I mean, Walker had his moments in that fight, but nothing like.
He pretty much dominated at least the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Those were his.
Yeah.
Again, third round, you could have gone either way, really.
Yeah, but like I say, it was. I mean, both these guys are coming on looking like good prospects, and it'd be nice to see the light heavyweight division as well. I mean, John Jones recently moved up after 10 years of dominance in that division, so it's nice to see some other competitors coming through in that one. We've been so used to seeing people get near the top and get slapped down again. It's good for them to have something to want to fight for.
I believe next week we may see a new champion of the
yes,
division.
Yeah, yeah. Izzy versus Jan next week. We'll cover that one next week, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think Jan's going to keep the belt, to be honest. But certainly
I'm praying. I'm praying.
I can feel another pizza coming my way.
Oh, I don't know. I really hope not. I hope my boy comes through for me.
We shall see. But no, I think Ankalaev has got the potential to really be a competitor in that division. But he does face a stiff test in Krylov. It's definitely a step up for him. So we'll see. It's one of those people who've got to pass through. I wouldn't say Krylov's a gatekeeper. He's too young for that.
No, but
he is one of those names you're going to have to go through to get to the top end of the division. So be a test for him. Next up is Montana De La Rosa and Myra Bueno Silva. To be honest, this one is a bit inconsequential for De La Rosa. I mean, since she came through the Ultimate Fighter, she's never really looked like making too much harm on the division. But for Bueno Silva, she came through the Contender Series, a real quick victory in her last fight. To me, she looks impressive. She looks like one to keep an eye on. I mean, granted, they are fighting at strawweight in this division where Shevchenko beats everyone, but she's got to have someone to challenge her.
Yeah.
So for me, I think this is more a test for Bueno Silva rather than a coming out party for Montana De La Rosa. So it'd be interesting. I mean, she's got a lethal ground game, Bueno Silva, but De La Rosa is no slouch herself.
No, absolutely not. She's got a fantastic takedown record.
I mean, similar to the Krylov and Ankalaev fight, I think this is going to be more of it'll be a test for Bueno Silva, and if she can come out the other end of it, who knows? She could end up fighting towards the top end of that division. Actually, Shevchenko is defending her belt before too long as well. I think that fight's been booked for April.
Oh, really?
Fighting Jessica Andrade, who's moved up from strawweight, multiple time title challenger down there. Actually, she held the belt as well for a very short period of time and never managed to defend it. So that'd be interesting. But Shevchenko's still got the belt after that. Bueno Silva could be coming for her. So we'll see. What's up next on the card?
Next one is
Pedro Munoz.
Oh yes.
And Jimmy Rivera. In the bantamweight division again. Another interesting one. It's kind of both of them need to get back on the horse really. Rivera, when he came into the UFC, I think he was on about 20 fight unbeaten run. Again, looked brilliant when he entered, but then got spun by Marlon Moraes and Aljamain Sterling. I think he lost another fight after that to Petr Yan. And he's just never really looked the same again. I think he did win his last outing, but he's taken a significant step down. And kind of the same for Pedro Munoz. At one point, he beat Katie Garbrandt. He was on a really good run, and he looked like he could be challenging for the title soon. Then he got left out of the UFC game, complained about it, and then I believe he lost his next fight, which wasn't a good look for him.
This is it. Like you bring politics into things now. Then you're losing, and then you're losing the fight. I mean, how is that going to progress your career in the UFC?
I mean, his point was that he didn't have a lot of name value, but that shouldn't matter because at the time he was, I think, ranked about 7 or 8 in the bantamweight division. So you can understand why you think he should have been in the game, but. Didn't happen for him. But hopefully, what I mean is, with an impressive win tonight from either of these guys, if they can start stringing a win back together again, they've both got the potential to be up there.
It's got to be something impressive though to come out if they really want to have that, a shot in the top 5 again.
I mean, Pedro Munoz is as tough as nails. His last fight, I believe, was against Frankie Edgar, which he lost a very close decision there.
So he's not going down in the first 2 rounds then. So
no. I mean, he's a solid fighter. I mean, you saw that firefight he had with Garbrandt. He's one of the fastest and hardest hitting punchers in the division. And he won. I mean, he managed to knock Garbrandt clean out.
Absolutely.
More through Garbrandt's bad fight IQ, I think. But still, you can see he can do it. And same with Rivera. I mean, you don't win 20 fights in a row against people by being a bad fighter. I mean, again, when he came as the UFC originally, he looked like he was going to be someone challenging for the title. Had that kind of fight against Marlon Moraes, which should have been his kind of breakthrough moment, and didn't end well for him. Moraes knocked him out, I think, with a head kick quite quickly. So, yeah, both of them, it's a shame. They're taking a little bit of a fall with recent times, but I think whoever wins this is certainly setting himself up for an exciting time in the bantamweight division. Dillashaw's coming back soon after his 2-year layoff. He never lost the belt in the cage, so he's going to be wanting his title back. Obviously, Henry Cejudo retired, and Jan took the vacant belt there. He's fighting Sterling next week for that title. So there is movement in the top of that division as well. Obviously, Sandhagen coming off a recent win over Edgar with that disgusterous flying knee, or standing knee rather. Standing jumping knee, I don't know what you'd term it really.
Whatever it was a disgusting knee to the face.
Yeah, it ended Frankie Edgar's night cleanly, so there are, as I say, there's going to be a lot of up and coming contender fights in that scene, so I think whoever wins this is putting themselves right in that mix. It's going to be an important one. And the last fight on the main card is probably my favourite one of the night.
It's up there. I mean, it was either they're going to be the main event, but this is going to be two sluggers.
I mean, you've always got to like the heavyweights. There's always guaranteed action in that one, especially sort of in the top end of the division. But yeah, Caceres versus Kroom.
Oh my!
I'm really looking forward to this one, man. I mean, Caceres has been in the UFC for quite a while.
And he's come back on form.
Yeah, I mean, he's been inconsistent. But he does look like he's putting it together. He's a little bit older now. I think he's about 32, 33, so he's sort of calmed down a bit.
Obviously, the last fight he took on short notice.
He
still looked fantastic.
I think he'd taken a bit of a step down. He felt like he was being treated like sort of as a stepping stone. And he finished the fight early doors. He finished the fight I think in the first round against a previously unbeaten prospect that again came through Dana White's Contender Series. He likes pushing those guys, and Caceres felt like he was just being put there to sort of get trodden on. Didn't happen.
No, he did it gracefully.
Same with Kevin Kroom. Kevin Kroom is another one. He came in on short notice earlier this year. Actually, I don't think it was that long ago against Roosevelt Roberts. He is, I think, Roberts was the biggest favourite on the card at the time. No one really expected Kroom to do a lot. When you take a fight at short notice, you're doing the UFC a favour, and I hope that they'll give you another chance. Kroom came out like Roberts owed him money. Slick grappling, power in that left hand of his. I'm really excited to see what he can do next. He should be on a 4-fight win streak. So that win against Roberts got overturned due to a negative drug test for marijuana, which USADA has now decided to stop punishing people for, so you shouldn't run into that problem again.
Well, that's it.
But yeah, both two, from what I've seen of Kevin Kroom, he looks to be a fun action fighter. Same with Alex Caceres, he's always a one to watch.
There's going to be two guys that are going to want to stand there and
that's going to be my favourite fight of the night, I think. And I really wouldn't want to call the winner. I just want to sit.
No, I want to see it happen.
Sit back and watch. I can think of a better way to open up the card. So yeah, I think that tops out the main card. Prelims are slightly reduced this week. I think they're down to about 4 fights. I think there's a couple cancelled throughout the week.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 fights on the prelims.
Yeah, I think another one has fallen out today. Ashley Yoder, one of her cornermen, has had a COVID-19 issue. I don't know whether he's tested positive or what the deal is there, but she's been pulled from her fight. I mean, it happens at the moment with COVID. There's no real way of planning ahead for it. And it seems to be the day of the fights that happens a lot of the time, which does confuse me slightly. I think if they've managed to get themselves into the bubble, they've been tested as negative along the way. How do so many of these corner people keep failing tests the day? That bit does called into question maybe how the UFC how rigorously they're testing people before they enter the bubble. But by the by, if nothing else, means a nice short prelims. I think it's a slightly later start time as a result. But we will be back, as I say, tomorrow, sometime early afternoon.
Yeah.
With a thorough review of the main card. Anything else you want to talk about this?
No, I think that's about wraps it up for today. No, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.
One thing actually I did want to mention, there has been not so much chatter in MMA this week, but there has been a good few fight bookings made.
Right.
So now the rest of the MMA world's waking up a little bit. Bellator are coming back in April. So are the PFL, who Anthony Pettis has recently joined. The fixtures have been announced for that, and he's fighting Clay Collard in the first round of their kind of league format.
Yeah.
PFL, for those who don't know, they do it slightly differently over there. It's Professional Fighters League. So they do it as a league format, and whoever is the sort of the winner at the end of the year, they don't have a title there. Well, I think they do nominally, but the point is they get £1 million prize. That's what they're competing for. So you probably earn more money in a year if you do win than you would in the UFC, kind of plugging away for years. So you can see why he's done it. And I mean, Pettis is certainly not old. I think he's still 33, 34. Yeah. He's not past it. He's a former lightweight champion. He's fought for the interim title at featherweight. He also has wins at welterweight. He's one of only 2 or 3 people, I think, to have won in 3 weight classes in the UFC. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on him, and I think it'll be good for the PFL. Probably bring some eyes onto them. Also over in one, Sage Northcutt is returning after about a 2-year layoff. He left the UFC as a free agent. He was one of Dana White's kind of boys that he was hyping up. I mean, he looks like action man. And he when he made his debut against Cosmo Alessandro over there, it went terribly for him. He caught an overhand right early on, and his whole face was smashed. He had his the X-ray afterwards was horrible. He had hours and hours of surgeries, had plates fitted in his face. And to be fair to him, a lot of people thought he might retire. I mean, he's got supermodel good looks. He could have just gone off and done anything, really. And to be fair, he's come back again. But whoever's advising him, he's having words with him. I think it's his dad, which is surprising. I mean, that match against Cosmo Alessandro, he's a decorated, I think Muay Thai is discipline. Either way, Cosmo Alexander, an extremely big, powerful, and very experienced martial artist, shouldn't be fighting someone like Sage Northcutt. He's
not at all.
15, 20 fights into his career. He's now fighting Shinya Aoki, who, for those of you who don't know, is a former champion in Dream. He's competed all over the world. I think he's about 70 odd fights, only lost 9 of them, and he has 30 submission wins on his record. Going against Sage Northcutt, who has not had any chance to develop since he got that appalling beating off Alessandra. So again, I don't think this is going to end well for him. At least this time he might not get his head smashed in, but he's probably going to end up losing a limb. I mean, Aoki is known for kind of not letting go as quickly as he should we say. He's garnered a lot of attention kind of throughout his career, being quite disrespectful, and he really is not. He's not a nice guy.
I mean, what's the point though? I mean, this.
Listen, I admire the mentality from Sage. He wants to go out and fight whoever is put in front of him, and fair play. But you need people in your camp who need to kind of manage your career for you properly. And keep every fighter thinks they can beat everyone. It's what they do. But for someone like Sage Northcutt at this stage and this age, he should be developing his skills against kind of similarly tenured talent, not fighting sort of champion kickboxers and jiu-jitsu artists. So yeah, I think Shinya Aoki is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. 3rd dan black belt in karate, or judo rather. So yeah, for me that fight makes no sense either. So it's coming up in April. If anyone does want to watch a huge mismatch, it'll be there.
I mean, we'll probably cover it anyway.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of Asian MMA kind of has been like that, even back to the Pride days. Still my favourite promotion, but it was not one that was known for particularly fair or normal matchmaking. So there's that. As we mentioned, Shevchenko, back in the UFC, is booked to defend her belt against Andrade. I think we knew that for a while, that fight was being made, but it's been made official this week. Again, like picking against Khabib, I never really pick against Shevchenko unless she's fighting Nunes. So I think that'll probably be another walk in the park. But Andrade's a big, powerful flyweight. Yeah. She was huge at strawweight. She managed to get the belt down there. She's come up to strawweight, and if anything, looks just as good, if not better. So yeah, for me that'll be interesting, but I think Shevchenko's probably got that one. And Davison, Figueiredo and Moreno, the rematch has been booked. Again, another one I think we knew was coming. They left it a bit later this time, booked to rematch in June. Last time they set a record for, I think, the fastest turnaround for a title fight. Both of them fought on the card, second to last fight card of last year. And then they fought again on the last card last year. Figueiredo turning round in, I think, about 28 days to defend his belt there.
Oh, wow.
So that rematch, I think it was second or third in the most of the fight of the year polls last year. Rematch booked for June. I can't wait for it. Again, Figueiredo's really lit up that flyweight division. It looked for a while that they were going to get rid of it when Johnson was champ, so Cejudo kind of brought a bit of attention, and now Figueiredo's carrying that one in his own way. So, yeah, man, lots to be looking forward to. Everything seems to be opening back up again slowly, but for tonight we are going to be on Rozenstruik versus Gane.
Oh yes.
Come back and join us tomorrow for our review, guys. We shall see you then. Peace.